Hello everyone, this is Melissa with Enchanted Emerald bringing you a reading here for May 12th, 2022. Before we get started, as always, I like to introduce the deck that I'm using. And so I'm using a different deck than I normally use. I did get a couple of new decks for my birthday, which is super exciting. And then this one is one that's very similar to the traditional Rider-Waite deck, which is my favorite deck just because there's so much symbolism within the cards, but this is the deck that I'm using today, the Light Seers Tarot. And so with this, I'm really feeling like there's so much beautiful imagery within these cards. If you guys have not seen these, they're beautiful, beautiful images within the deck here. And so the card that we have today out of this deck is the Three of Pentacles for our energy. Okay, so Three of Pentacles we have. And so what I'm really feeling with this is really a card of working together, okay, collaborating, working for a greater good, a common goal. And I feel like there's a lot of joy available to us right now, okay? So if you're open to that, this is a time to kind of welcome that in. I do feel like there's not going to be pure joy available unless you are claiming that for yourself and you're going out there and working for that, right? So what are you working on? Who are you working with? And are you claiming that for yourself? Now, this is not going to come without obstacles, right? With all of these things, there's a shadow work that has to be done in claiming this for yourself, okay? So with this, I really feel like there's a tight web that we kind of weave, right, around ourselves sometimes. And sometimes this is more of a protection that we build for ourselves out of insecurities, acknowledging our own limitations, right? And so there's this sense that there's a wall that's been built, okay, around you, almost to protect you. And I feel like what's happening with this is that as you work through some of this shadow part of yourself in working with others, collaborating with others, you'll be unearthing a beautiful piece of yourself that you didn't even know was available, right? Like you'll be learning so much about yourself you didn't even know existed, right? And so with that Pentacles energy, I just get that unearthing energy, that joy that's available to you. And it's a joy that you're creating within yourself as a result of tapping into hidden talents, tapping into these new passions and, you know, yearning for something more. Excuse me. And so I feel like things have been buried beneath the surface and they're rising now for you to acknowledge that they're there for you. And so I do feel like part of this is going to be happening in working with other people. Part of this will be happening as you decide to maybe meander from your path. Maybe you are deciding to take a step out of your comfort zone and see what's available on the other side, right? Like the grass is always greener on the other side. And so you're like, well, let's see what that looks like over there. And how does that feel walking on that grass barefoot? Is this my time to shine over there? And so, you know, I feel like as you start to meander from your path, you might find that the path that you were on, that you thought was your one and only path forever, you might find that that was never really your path at all. You might find that stepping out of your comfort zone and moving into something new, you might find you're extremely excited about something new. And so I feel like instead of getting lost meandering from your path, because now stepping out of your comfort zone, that's uncomfortable, right? It's totally uncomfortable. It's going to create a transition phase, right? And you will have to, you know, in essence, find yourself within these new boundaries, right? Because you're going to be moving your comfort zone, right? And so getting comfortable with new things, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And so I feel like throughout all of that, as you find yourself, this is where those obstacles kind of come in, right? Because it's uncomfortable. And so these obstacles, these barriers kind of come in. And I do feel as though this is a bit of a trial and error, right? Where you're not going to know what works for you or what doesn't work for you until you start trying new things, right? So you start trying on different masks, so to speak, right? And so as you start to do those things, you might find that, you know, this isn't working, and then you have to get yourself out of that situation, and then you have to find something totally new to try again. And so this is where those obstacles kind of come in. Now, in working that energy, right, you might have conflict, perhaps maybe with loved ones or those closest to you. You know, you might find that those that are really caring for you, they might want to try to protect you from being uncomfortable or protect you from going through those uncomfortable experiences and struggling maybe a little bit. Maybe that's how they see it or perceive it. And so they might try to project their fears or their worries onto you. And so that's where, you know, there's a potential to have a little bit of a conflict, have a little bit of a clash come in. And so it is about you knowing that this is what you want to do and standing in your truth and then standing up for yourself, right? And then also, you don't have to make anybody comfortable but yourself. And so this is an uncomfortable enough process trying to find yourself and find your happiness. And so what you need is support. And so if you are communicating that to them and understanding, they understand that what you need from them and why you're doing this, that's the important part, right? It's about communicating that to them, because I think that if you get angry throughout this is not going to serve you. It's going to make your process that much harder. And you know, it's about this conflict resolution that you also are learning through all of that. You're learning this conflict resolution throughout all of that. And so how can you overcome that? In communication and cooperation, right? So maybe they need to be guided in how is it that they can help you. And, you know, understanding too, the first part is to just acknowledge that we don't always all see eye to eye. And that's okay, because we still have very unique experiences that we bring to the table, very unique attributes that we bring to the table, and we're still adding value to the greater whole. So making those attributes work to our advantage and allowing that to work within the dynamic of what's happening. And it can be a beautiful process if you're allowing that to transpire in that way. And so I do feel as though moving through this, you'll find as you go through obstacle after obstacle, you'll come to a place where you develop tried and true methods that work for you, and you will begin to carry them with you throughout time now, right? As you learn about yourself, you'll learn what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And of course, that is apt to change again in the future, right? Because we're all learning and growing. Excuse me. But I think the most important piece of this is to take some time throughout all of this too, to allow yourself to understand that you are being shaped and molded into the person that you need to be for your highest and best future self. And so it's also a very beautiful process. We have the dirt and mold beneath our feet, right? As we walk this heavy path, right? Okay, it doesn't have to be like the grass is always greener. Maybe you are stepping across and there's no grass yet, and you have to plant those seeds and create that grass, right? Maybe it's just that dirt, that mound of dirt, but it is what you make of it, okay? And so I'm thinking of all of this dirt like in a desert, and as the wind blows and it blows this dirt more and more and more and more, it eventually becomes a mound of dirt, and then it gets packed down more and more and more, and it eventually builds more and more and more, and then you climb up to the top of that, and it's a canyon, and you've climbed so far and you've gotten so far, and you're now on the top of that, and you now can see for miles and miles. And so it's about your perspective, right? Your vantage point. And so as you're standing on top of that canyon, you see all of the issues, right? You can anticipate if there's enemies coming. You can anticipate if there are predators coming, if there's animals coming, right? You can anticipate, where does the dirt dip down? Where should I be frightened to fall, right? You have all of those things, but then there's also this beautiful process where you can also take a deep breath, take a stand, give yourself some credit, and know that you worked really hard to get here, and take a deep breath and just enjoy the view. Take it all in, because you can see the beautiful sunrise or the sunset, and you can enjoy just how far you can see across to the horizon, and you can just take a deep breath and know that even though day to day you might be putting a lot of effort into something and you feel as though it's not getting where you want to be, getting you where you want to be, in the end, all of those days add up. All of those efforts add up. All of that efforting adds up, and then you get yourself to a space where it's really magical, right? So don't forget to embrace that magic along the way, right? Don't allow yourself to get consumed by the tasks, consumed by the day-to-day, but allow yourself to breathe in and understand that I'm not alone, right? You're not alone. There are others that are also working on things. There are others that are also struggling, and there are others there to support you. And so calling in the support that you need, asking for help when you need help, it will go a long way. And it's okay to ask the angels for help. You do have to ask them for help, and they will show up. And sometimes it is in the form of others. And so being open to that is a beautiful process as well. So what a really beautiful reading we have here for us for the 12th of May. I do so hope that this resonates for you. And as always, if you're interested in your own personal reading, I'd love to be able to do that for you. You can hit me up in the messenger on Facebook or at enchantedemeraldny@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and book right here on the Square site on YouTube in the description box below, or it's pinned at the top of this page on Facebook. As always, I will be back with another read for you guys again soon, and until then, be kind to one another. Take care.